Good afternoon and welcome to the Knuckleheads of Liberty podcast, formerly Libertarian Counterpoint podcast. We are coming at you on January 13th, 2021. Lots of crazy stuff in the news, but today we're actually going to take a break and focus on a person who has run for office as a Libertarian and actually won. So that's always a good news to hear about. Before we get into that, I'm going to introduce you to our panelists. Up in our left-hand corner, we have Leon, the word Brathwaite, last word in Liberty, retired engineer from the state of California. And probably coming in later, our Screaming Eagle of Freedom is out there flying through the air right now, and he'll probably be coming in for a hot landing. But Tim Everett will likely be dropping in the middle of the show as well. And then we have a special guest today, Kalish Morrow, and she is a city council woman in the city of Hanford, California. And so she ran in 2020 and won. And so we'll hear a little bit about that from her. And my name is Jason McPhee, and I'll be your host today. So let's jump right into the interview then. So Kalish ran in 2020. And James, I don't know if we have a graphic there real quick where we could show where roughly Hanford is. So it's sort of located in between Fresno and Bakersfield in the middle of the San Joaquin Valley. And Kalish, you want to tell us why you decided to run for office?
Yeah, so this was my second run for city council. Actually, I ran back in 2016, and basically, I ran for similar reasons. Back at that point, I had a small business in downtown, saw all the red tape and the issues that myself and other businesses were having, and I got more involved with the local politics and more vocal and those kinds of things. Decided to run when the seat opened up, and got smacked. It was my very first campaign. So the second run, I was actually thinking about moving out of state, actually, but I was realizing that the issues that make California an issue was spreading out to the rest of the country. There was no running away from it. So, I decided to stay and defend my home state the best way that I could. And, knowing that I already had kind of a foothold, a good possibility of being able to win a seat here and affect change here in California and locally, decided to go for it. So that's the gist of it.
Well, that's a really hopeful story because, I mean, we've seen this trail of U-Hauls leaving California, and certainly there's a difference where, it's a lot more expensive to get out than to get in.
Yeah. Good luck even renting a U-Haul these days.
Yeah. But it's great news to hear that there's somebody like you who's sticking around to fight. So, Leon, what you gonna ask?
Yeah, I was gonna say. So you felt that the California disease is spreading throughout the United States in numbers that, I guess, to the extent that you feel that it's best to stay here and fight rather than to move.
Yeah, I felt that, we were looking at different places like maybe Nevada or something, but even that is turning more and more blue. They've been purple, but they're turning more and more blue as people are leaving California. And the problem is, and my husband and I were talking about it, he's like, well, it doesn't make any sense. Why would you move out of California and then vote to raise more taxes and stuff? And I'm like, well, it's not that simple, though. It's just every regulation that they end up voting in, and then it costs extra money, that costs extra bureaucracy. Then they end up raising your taxes just via that way. And so it's not this direct correlation of, Californians just want taxes. Some of them do, it's just mind-boggling to me, but it is just these regulations that occur, and it snowballs, and that's where we are right now. But yeah, I thought that would be a futile effort, and I would have hated to move, start all over, start a whole new life all over, and then find myself in the same predicament, 5-10 years down the line, because it just got as bad as California.
So you said a little while ago that you run a small business in downtown Hanford. Did the COVID affect you? The COVID virus, and in terms of the lockdowns?
Well, I closed it up a couple years ago, so it I guess that was fortuitous. My heart just wasn't in it anymore. I had a small we would make handmade soaps and bath bombs, so skincare line and that kind of thing, and I loved it. I loved having a boutique and stuff, but my heart just wasn't in it. I was getting more and more involved with the local politics, and that's where I would get really passionate. But if I would start to focus on that, the business would start to kind of fall apart. And again, like going back to the issues with California, it's expensive to have even just one employee, let alone the team that I needed. And I just saw the writing on the wall. Each year, we've had it set to where we keep raising minimum wage almost about $1 each year, and it was just going to keep getting more and more expensive. So a couple years ago, I just decided to pull the plug on it and went back to doing interior design just via online and stuff. And then this past year, took a whole sabbatical so I could focus on the campaign.
Oh, okay.
It almost seems like you could have kept the business on soap stores and then talking about how you're going to clean up politics, you know?
Only Jason would think about that, believe me. Only Jason would think about that.
Well, it's funny enough, my campaign slogan ended up being "A Better Tomorrow," a play on my last name. So yeah.
Oh wow, okay, that's cool. That's cool.
Hey, after 2020 and now going into 2021, if you don't think we need to clean things up, this is getting pretty crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you know, as far as running, then can you tell us a little bit about, I guess, how you did? I mean, clearly you won. Was it a really challenging race, or was it something where you? Yeah, well, I'll let you go on.
Right. So when I ran back in 2016, there was about 4 of us that ran. One of them, the person who won, who got first place, I ended up in 4th, but she got first place, and she had been in the local politics, the school board, those kinds of things. She had been on city council a few years before that, and been mayor, because we do a rotation of mayor and vice mayor amongst the council and stuff. So did served as mayor at one point. Basically, just had a bunch of name recognition. She took 4 years off and then decided to come back, but she was, in conversations with her, she was just like, I really didn't even expect to win. I just, kind of wanted to get back into it. And she put out a few signs, and she just won handily on name recognition. So, which is really frustrating. I know for the rest of them.
It looks like we might be having a little bit of technical problems.
It looks so.
There we go. Oh, there. Say hi, Shelly. It's so kind of messing up. I'm so sorry. My internet's just been crap this whole time.
We have had similar problems. Believe me, we really have.
It's 2021. Whatever we do on this show can't be more messed up than what's happening out there.
Well, it looks like it fixed itself. but yeah. So anyway, kind of picking up where I left off there. But when I knew that if I decided that I would run again in 2020, that I would get an early start, and it was something that really threw some people off, because we did our intent to run over a year out. Nobody ever does that, because we wanted to be able to start fundraising, and so everybody was pretty shocked, because usually you just start your campaign like 2 or 3 months before election, and that's it. But we got started, and oh my God, thank God we got started early, because we had no idea COVID would hit, and we already did a lot of fundraising, just like monthly donors and stuff. So going into it, by the time I had to pull papers, we already had a good nest egg to just hit the ground running. But yeah, no, she was definitely a difficult candidate but with, based on her name recognition and stuff, but we hit it hard, and we actually ended up with about 12 or 13 points over her.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Wow. So what was your, in terms of running, what was your main issue? What was the main issue that you were running on?
My biggest thing was, cutting the red tape, looking at the business, the regulations that's here, because we're known as being one of those towns that's just one of the most difficult ones to work with. And so looking at some of these, tedious regulations, and, seeing what we could do to roll that back. And then, I had other people asking me like, well, you're very focused on economics, but what are you going to do for the rest of us, in people who aren't involved in small business. And the way that I was able to explain it to them was like, it does benefit you. If we have a strong business, if we have strong sales tax revenues, that means more services for everybody else, and it means not raising taxes to cover those services. So it's that whole like it benefits everybody for sure.
How difficult was it to make that message too? Because I know that's for libertarians, that's one of the toughest things, is to try and connect with average people and explain to them, I guess, how a free market, it really does benefit your life and your liberty. And a lot of people kind of think that's just kind of like pro-business, and they don't quite get the connection, I guess.
Yeah, and that's why I was appreciative that somebody posed that question for me, so I could formulate it, in a way that they understand that the benefit of it really does reach them on a smaller level, or more, household to household type level. Things like we've got this really great parkland over here that everybody wants to see developed, but we can't really do that if we don't have the tax revenue. Most of our income for the city comes from sales tax and property tax. So as all those things go up, again, just going back to the whole thing, like everybody benefits from that kind of revenue. And so when you get, and that's definitely something that us libertarians have to work on, making it so it's palatable for everybody else that doesn't speak economic ease like we do.
I don't know if you guys make this distinction, but I make a big distinction between pro-business and pro the free enterprise system. I really do, because one of them is really a special interest. The other one is really the one that promotes liberty, which is the free enterprise system, and that is the one that I support. So, but just to make that distinction. But anyway, please go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the things I was curious about, Kalish, too, is as far as running for office. So it sounded like the COVID came up and kind of surprised everybody this year, I suppose, who was running for office. How did that, since you ran in 2016 pre-COVID, and now you have this experience of running, with the whole COVID lockdown thing, how did that change things for you?
I was worried that would change things a lot. Obviously, it thwarted it. Big fundraiser type activities that we were planning on doing, but we were able to still make up for that with us starting early and, reaching out to donors. And we actually got a lot of help too from, like Mises Caucus. They donated quite a bit to my campaign, and then working with the local developers too, who just really appreciated my message of, free market, those kinds of things. So yeah, it definitely affected us trying to do, and I'm sorry, are you getting any kind of feedback? Because I get it in my ears.
A little bit, but I'm hearing you clearly, but I'm getting the little feedback. Yes.
Okay, I think I'm gonna turn it off real quick. Sorry. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, and I can't hear you. Oh no, what did I do?
I screwed it all up. Well,
I'm turning back on. Never mind. I'm so sorry. Right in the middle of the show.
Okay. No, it's the audio is pretty good for the most part. So
yeah, it's fine as it is, but there is a little feedback. But I think you could go with as it is.
Yeah. The only thing that really hurts a politician is that hot mic when they don't know about it.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know what. So I can hear you guys a little bit, but it's not. I totally screwed this all up. I'm a mess.
Well, are you hearing us? Are you hearing us now? Are you hearing us?
I can hear you very, very lightly. It's coming through my phone, but it's.
Okay. Well, we will try to muddle through as best we can. So, but I mean,
I'm just gonna get really close so that I can kind of hear you guys.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, one of the things I was curious about is in running as a libertarian, what resources were available to you as far as with the Libertarian Party, locally or statewide? I mean, if somebody was watching this video, what might you be able to point them to if they wanted to consider, helping out their local community and running as a libertarian also?
I mean, you can always reach out to your local affiliate, your
your local affiliate. I got a lot of, in your state party and that kind of thing too. I would say though, each state is a little bit different. California, we focused a lot more this year on making sure that we're helping out with our local candidates, which is probably why we ended up with the most wins out of and quite a bit, compared to the other states, because we all focused on low ballot elections, and so there was that. National did help out with our walk app. It's basically it's a canvassing app, so it took all the voter registration info and put it into this app, and then we were able to see everything like as a map and answer surveys through that, and get quick information versus the way that most people do it around here is they print up an Excel sheet of everything and then make little notes and cross things off. And this made it to where that we could go out there with a team and organize, okay, you're going to go hit this area and you're going to hit this area, and we could literally meet up, but we would never hit the same household because we could see where other people had been on the app. So wow. That was definitely helpful. And then again, with having our some of the caucuses, Mises has been doing really great with wanting to focus on helping down ticket candidates, knowing that that's where we're going to get most of our wins and stuff. So, that was a huge reason. And just having a network, my money, most of the fundraising came from the Libertarian Party in various ways, small donations, those kinds of things.
Okay.
So is Hanford in terms of its traditionally, is it primarily a blue area or a red area or purple? Hey Tim.
Hey Tim. Yes. So sorry to interrupt you, the audience here. We just had our other panelist, Tim, our Screaming Eagle of Freedom, just came in for a hot landing here. So.
Yeah. It was pretty hot, and. So I decided, heck with that. I'm so late. I'll just do it from the cockpit of the Screaming Eagles aircraft here at Imperial Airport.
Well, that makes it really exciting. Tim, just to let you know where we're at, Kalish was just telling us about some of the help that she's gotten from the Libertarian Party in running for and winning a city council seat in Hanford, California. So I don't know. Sorry to interrupt you there, Kalish, but did you want to jump back to where you were going? We didn't mean to cut you off there.
Yeah, sorry
no
about
worries.
that.
Hi, Tim. Welcome.
Hi, Kalish. Everybody should talk to people with these little nameplates on there, especially new people, so you don't forget their name. You can just look at. It's like. I mean, I'm not proposing that we all just stop communicating face to face and require a little memory going on here. But, you meet somebody new and you can't remember their name. And it's kind of nice just to see, oh, there it is. Oh, it's spelled with a K. Yeah. So, okay.
And that could be a platform for running for office. You could say everybody should have a name attached.
Yeah.
Mandatory name tags. There you go.
Yeah.
Right. Like at a meetup group, a meetup group.
They're talking about mandatory mask, so I guess this mandatory name might be
I know. I can't recognize you. We all
a mandatory number instead of a name tag.
So yes, I was asking about the area in which you were running. Were you running is Hanford traditionally blue, red, purple?
We're very red county and red city in my district, and we break it up into districts too. And so there are some that are more Democrat, but mine is more heavy on the Republican. And I feel like that's a little bit of the feather in my cap too, because I was able to unseat a Republican incumbent with a ton of name recognition. I was able to unseat her as a Libertarian, and it's more that we've got some people, other Republicans are in the area, and it's so funny because they're very proud about, hey, what, if I'm a Libertarian, I'm a Libertarian, at heart. I'm like, you do realize you can just change. You don't have to be that party. You can actually literally become a Libertarian It's very simple.
Yeah.
But some of these guys that, you know, they're elected into office, even though it's local office and they're nonpartisan and stuff, they still know that, you know, that people find out what your party affiliation is, and so they get afraid to go and change and be anything else. You know, I just proved them wrong. So hopefully we can get more and more people switching over to Libertarian. In fact, he was a vice mayor at the time. He endorsed me here in Hanford, and now he's mayor. But as soon as I won, he switched to Libertarian, and he's a dues paying member.
Oh, good. Okay, fantastic. Okay.
Kalish, I had a quick question for you now, because you brought up this idea that there's, you know, some Republicans, and, you know, hey, maybe they could just switch over to being Libertarian. Maybe they're really Libertarian. What was it that first got you to become a Libertarian? Did you, you know, is that early on in life, or was it more recently with your running a business experience? You know, what kind of, what was the trigger, I guess?
Yeah, it was several years back. It was the last time Ron Paul was trying to run for the Republican ticket, and he was the only one that really made any sense to me. And by the way, I was registered Democrat at the time, but he was the only one that made any sense to me, which I thought was really crazy because, you know, he's a Republican, and then everybody kept calling him a Libertarian, and I was like, what is that? And I went and looked it up, and I think it was I can't remember his that election, but not too long after that, I realized that the Democrats had just completely failed us, and I was looking for a new home. Republicans weren't going to be the home for me because I'm too socially accepting for them, and went for Libertarian because, you know, everything about our platform just hit all the marks for me. So that was the moment for me.
Well, good. Okay, good. Okay. Well, I'm a small Libertarian, not a member of the Libertarian Party. Smaller Libertarian. Jason want to beat me up for that, but it's okay.
Well, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, for a lot of people, it's not so simple, because you wind up, you know, never learning about any of this stuff in school. I mean, you only learn about the Republicans and the Democrats, and
yes.
It's for me, it was just sort of like I didn't find out about even like Free to Choose or Milton Friedman until I was in my 30s, you know. So it's a really and I know a lot of people take a different route there, and so, but it's always interesting to hear, especially somebody who's actually out there making a difference in office, you know, how it is that they came around, type of thing.
Yeah.
So,
well, I told you guys I was a social democrat when I came to America, so here I am 44 years later. God saved me.
Or maybe he saved us from you.
well,
okay, Tim. Thanks for that. Okay, I appreciate that.
Well, you know, I mean, you're dangerous, but you know, just being a Libertarian, because you're so good at talking that I would hate to have to, you know, go up against you as some kind of a liberal. I mean, you're so smart. I don't know if I could compete.
Well, I guess I'll have to take that. I'll have to take that as a compliment. Okay.
Yeah, I would.
That's the word.
So, Kalish, you know, a lot of us learned about libertarianism from various people, or in a lot of cases, at least in my case, websites like Mises.org and things. And you mentioned Ron Paul, and a lot of us have stumbled upon Ron Paul either early or midway in our development as libertarians. So besides Ron, is there any other source of information about libertarianism that has influenced you over the years?
Well, I know that obviously going and researching the website was my first big step on that. I think it's also just having gotten involved with the party the way that I have, and having those conversations with people have really helped answer some questions. You know, when I first heard Gary Johnson saying like, well, we should do open borders and those kinds of things, or you know, just expedite immigration. At first I was just like, what are you talking about? That's crazy. But then he starts explaining, then you make it so that they can work legally, and then the benefit is that you collect income tax off of them too. So now they're contributing to society, and not taking advantage of things like everybody says that they do, which most people don't realize that if you're illegal, you don't get to qualify for welfare like everybody assumes. But yeah, it's just it was really just having conversations with people that really helped me understand our philosophies a lot more. And then I did start reading up on some more economics books, and getting some of the books and everything too that may help make it even more sense. I recommend the Economics in One Lesson. That's a classic, and you just listen to it on audio and you can get through it pretty quickly, and it all makes sense. And it was written forever ago, and it's still relevant today, and it kind of highlights why we've gotten into the issues that we've gotten into. It's almost like a prediction and stuff, but information's been out there, but we still keep screwing it all up. Which is amazing.
To say the least, yes.
Well, being a libertarian in politics now, what's the most important issue for you going forward?
Well, I think right now, taking it case by case, we're dealing with COVID, obviously. In my city particularly, we've actually still been doing well with our finances. And we were also, when I got into office, I'm lucky too that everybody had been pretty good fiscal hawks. So we don't have any debt or anything. We have a couple of big box stores here that have been helping out with generating the revenue that we need to keep moving forward, even though our small businesses are struggling, unfortunately. But that said, even though that we're doing well, our businesses are, again, they're struggling. We've got people that are employed by them that are struggling. And so, the next thing, I got sworn in on the 15th. I was happy to get unanimous support from the rest of council. We agendized a discussion on basically declaring all businesses essential at the next meeting. I'm hopeful, I think, very positive that that's going to move forward. And it's mostly ceremonial, but it's just to encourage businesses, let them know. We've had a whisper campaign. We've let them know that we're not going to enforce anything as a city or even as a county too. But they still have to deal with state regulations, ABC laws, those kinds of things. So, but we're making a very public statement that, hey, if you choose to open up, we're not going to touch you. We're going to leave you alone. We're going to let you do what you need to do. For those things moving forward. And then, I think taking a look at what we could do to incentivize some of those businesses. Oh, sorry, what?
I really, from a government official, I think that's really a good thing to do, that all businesses are essential. This is true, because this is people's livelihood we are talking about. And some bureaucrat could sit somewhere and say, this is essential and this is not. This is one of the most egregious violation of our rights you could think about. But yeah, I like that. Like declaring all businesses essential. I like that. I really do.
It's absolutely essential that message get out to the rest of the California as well, and the other California politicians. But it's also essential that we've come to the end of our show, and so we want to wrap up. But thank you so much, Kalish, for being here and sharing your experience with everybody today. This is really important. I mean, if we're going to make changes, it's got to be, at a lot of these local levels, just to get people on board with messaging and how that affects our lives. So if you have any comments or questions, you can feel free to send them in at counterpoint@libertariancounterpoint.com. You can catch this show archived at libertariancounterpoint.com or Facebook at Libertarian Counterpoint. And we will look forward to seeing you all on our next show, those listening, and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, and I'm so sorry for all the technical difficulties.
No problem. We have been there, believe me.